നല്ല തിരക്ക്. അത് കഴിഞ്ഞ് പാലക്കലിന് തിരിഞ്ഞു പോയി.
Hello, Anand Menon sir. It is almost 7 now, sir. Hello.
Vipin, we can mute others when we start, no?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So it is 7 now, sir.
So shall we start in another 2 minutes? I think we can start.
Okay, sir. So shall we start, sir?
Yeah, let's start.
Okay, okay, sir. Okay, sir. Good evening and welcome to this monthly technical talk organized by AEA in association with TMA and Institution of Engineers, Thrissur Local Center. We will start the meeting with a silent prayer. Thank you all. It is time for the presidential address. I request Engineer Anand Menon, President, Architects and Engineers Association, to deliver the welcome and presidential address. Sir, please.
Good evening, friends. Good evening, Mr. Madhu S. Nair. Friends, the chief guest this evening, Engineer Madhu S. Nair, CEO and CMD Cochin Shipyard. President TMA Engineer Vinod Manjula, Chairman of Institution of Engineers, Thrissur Chapter Dr. Sunil, members of Architects and Engineers Association, members of the Institute of Engineers, Trichur, members of Trichur Management Association, invited guests and friends. This evening, we have a joint program hosting an extraordinary engineer who rose from the rank of an engineering trainee to CEO and CMD of a 3,700 crore company, employing about 1,700 people in a short span of time of about 30 odd years. This he achieved by sheer determination, hard work, and competence, both technical and managerial. His leadership qualities helped transform a government institution ridden with all its maladies and red tape to a profitable public limited company listed in the National Stock Exchange. Today's its share price stands at around 287 rupees. He will be formally introduced by my good friend Engineer Vinod Manjula, President of TMA shortly. Today, Engineer Madhu talks about the challenges and achievements in building India's first aircraft carrier INS Vikrant, the pride of Indian Navy and all Indians. Friends, all questions raised by you will be answered, for which we have allotted sufficient time. Kindly use the chat box and our program coordinator Vipin Padmanabhan will do the needful. At this juncture, I would like to thank Dr. Kurian, Secretary of AEA, and Engineer Francis, Secretary of TMA, for their role in making this program successful. I wish all of you a pleasant evening and an inspiring engineering, listening to an inspiring engineering professional, the one and only Engineer Madhu S. Nair. Thank you. Jai Hind.
Thank you, Anand Menon, sir. Before we move on, I request all our participants to please mute your mic so that we are undisturbed in the meeting. Let me move on. I request Engineer Vinod Manjula, President TMA, to introduce our chief guest, Shri Madhu S. Nair, CMD, Cochin Shipyard Limited. Sir, please.
Thank you. Thank you, Engineer Anand Menon, the past president of TMA, a vibrant leader, for inviting TMA to this program. Management and engineering go hand in hand. For a successful engineering project, you need management skills. And to survive in this technological world, we managers require engineering skills. So it is good that we are doing joint projects and strengthening our relationship. Friends, this evening, I have been given the pleasant task of introducing the chief guest of the evening and a veteran in the shipping industry. Engineer Madhu S. Nair. He took over as the chairman and managing director of Cochin Shipyard on 1st January 2016. He did his B.Tech, specializing in naval architecture and shipbuilding from the Cochin University of Science and Technology, and holds a master's in engineering. Again, in naval architecture and ocean engineering from Osaka University, Japan. He has 33 years of professional experience with Cochin Shipyard Limited. He joined as a trainee in the year 1988 and worked up the ladder to become his head. He was a key driver in forging alliances with international technology partners and was instrumental in conceptualizing the small shipping division. He was a key player in banging international contracts while he was heading the marketing division. Under his leadership, CSL became a listed company after a very successful IPO and is presently undertaking major projects worth 3,000 crores. Further, in line with his focus on development of a dedicated shipyard for construction of small and medium naval vessels and specialized crafts, including fishing, inland and coastal vessel, CSL took over Themba shipping yard at Malpe near Udupi. CSL under its leadership also forged major alliances with major port trusts and dockyards in India, improving the shipping repair ecosystem in the country. Thus, from a single unit at Kochi in 2015, today, CSL has 7 units, 2 in Cochin, 2 in Calcutta, 1 in Mumbai, Malpe, and Port Blair. He is a member of various prestigious bodies. He is a member of the Royal Institution of Naval Architects, UK, Institution of Naval Architects, India, and member Board of Studies, Cochin University of Science and Technology. And is presently the president of Indo-Japan Chamber of Commerce, Kerala. He is a strong believer in people of power, and people first policy in CSL is conceived by him. Friends, we all know a true leader makes the organization future ready. Under his leadership, CSL has taken a unique strategic vision exercise called Cruise 2030. And by this new strategic and advanced solution division which he's created, he hopes to make CSL into a knowledge organization. Friends, this evening, he'll be giving us a talk on the topic, building our first indigenous aircraft carrier, INS Vikrant. Over to you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, Vinod, sir. May I now invite our guest of honor, Shri Madhu S. Nair, to address the gathering. Sir, please. Madhu, sir.
Thank you, and good evening, everyone. I hope I'm audible.
Yes, sir. Loud and clear, sir.
First of all, thanks for the kind words of introduction, and thanks to from Sri Vinod Manjila, and thanks to Anand Menon. It's always a pleasure coming on with the Trichur Management Association, the Institution of Architects and Engineers, and the Institution of Engineers. I feel forums like this, exchange of views at this stage is very important, that we understand rather than being in silos. We try to have a much broader understanding, and professionals and management professionals present here. I think what I'll try to do over the next 20 minutes or so is try to give a glimpse of the indigenous aircraft carrier, the pride of India from an engineering standpoint. I'll try to share as much information as it's possible, but being a military project, I'm not in a position to share some information, and that's a set of reasons why I'm not probably in a position to share the full presentation as is. A few requests from my side. Kindly have all the other mics on mute, and because my presentation is a little bit heavy from a bandwidth point of view, because there are some embedded videos in it, and I would think that if the net connectivity is not very good at your side, you may probably be seeing these videos a little bit scrambled, but I can't help it on the video part, but the other part of the slide should come in with whatever technology and the bandwidth we have. I think that may be what is best possible. So the only request would be so that to avoid a disturbance, because already the video is a bit heavy. So if all the mics could be muted. I'm just starting to share my screen here, and I'll just ask for a confirmation on whether you're seeing this clearly. I have shared my screen, and I'm on slideshow mode. So can Mr. Vipin confirm that I'm seeing on, you're seeing me on?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Yes, we are seeing.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Slides are visible. You are also.
Fine. So this is about the indigenous aircraft carrier, and straight away at the outset, I should say, this is all about India. This is not just about Cochin Shipyard. Cochin Shipyard, yes, is central character in this whole project, but this is equally or more about the country. And that's why you can see I'm not taken out the Indian Navy from this whole presentation. When the Cochin Shipyard is doing this presentation, I'm doing this presentation. I feel that without the Indian Navy, this entire project is not even being conceived. So, and as the country moves forward, you can see this is a picture of the vessel out at sea in all its grandeur. What I'll be covering, I moved on to the next slide. Can Vipin again confirm that my slide is moving?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Touch upon the history and the overview, cardinal milestones on the project, a build strategy, main particulars, touch on the complexity of the vessel, challenges faced and the experience gained, and a special focus on the Atmanirbharta part of it. Let's look at the earlier aircraft carriers. We started off with INS Vikrant, which was made in England. It was an old HMS Hermes, which saw the War of Falklands. So 61 to 97, it served. Then we, this was INS Vikrant, and then we got INS Virat, which is the HMS Hermes, made in England, and 1987 to 2017 served with the Indian Navy. And now we have only one aircraft carrier today, which is INS Vikramaditya, made in Russia, and Indian Navy has been having this aircraft carrier since 2013 onwards. A quick overview. This is a first indigenous aircraft carrier project of the country. This is the largest shipbuilding project of the nation in terms of value, size, complexity, and allied timelines. If I may put it a little bit in a different mode, this probably is amongst India's largest single engineering product. It's a fully indigenous design, and the basic design has been done by the Directorate of Naval Design in New Delhi with consultancy from Messrs. Fincantieri in Italy and Rosoboron Export, which is a Russian defense export organization in certain areas. And the complete construction of the ship is done by Cochin Shipyard Limited. So all equipment, outfitting, and detail engineering has been done by Cochin Shipyard Limited. And the build methodology is what we call concurrent design and production. Because considering the long timelines that's involved in creation of such projects, from concept to actually final fructification, it is not wise to actually complete the engineering and the design and then start with the production, because by the time you actually complete the project, some of your systems could get outdated or there could be better things in the market. So always to have the best ones available, you're actually doing a concurrent design and build production. It's got its advantages, as I mentioned. It's also got its negatives. But this project has actually been handled in a concurrent design and build methodology. And CSL and the Aircraft Carrier Connect. This is the only Indian yard to have dry docked aircraft carriers and built one. So INS Virat has been completely, during its life with the Indian Navy, Cochin Shipyard has handled the vessel 14 times. So there was a significant experience by the shipyard on aircraft carriers. So 14 times this carrier over a span of about 26 years has been handled by CSL. INS Vikramaditya, India's present aircraft carrier, has only been docked twice in India, and it's only Cochin Shipyard which can actually dock this vessel. So it's been docked twice. And as we are saying, the aircraft carrier, indigenous aircraft carrier, is being built, or we are in advanced stages of close to delivery of the vessel to the Indian Navy. There is a video. Can again Vipin confirm that the video is being seen?
Yes, sir, it can.
Okay. So this shows how the ship is being built in various stages. So how the steel moves forward, the vessel getting floated out in its first mode, the vessel going for trials, and what the vessel actually looks like out at sea. These are actual pictures from the aircraft carrier out at sea. It's a glorious sight when this vessel actually is out at sea. It demonstrates the true capabilities of India. I'll get into that a bit later. And all sorts of helicopters of the Indian Navy has already been tried out on the vessel. You can see like the work order, as we say, and this is because we are all professionals here, like the work order was in 2004, though the fabrication started in 2006 due to a set of reasons associated with the steel which was to have been imported. We had difficulties that steel didn't come in as expected, and India moved forward and created our own steel for this. Essentially, the keel was laid in 2009, and in 2022, now we are delivering this vessel. So it's a, from keel laying to delivery, we are talking about 13 years, which is typical of an aircraft carrier of this size. It's only being the sixth country, if you count China also, of having designed and built an aircraft carrier. And the best timelines would come from the United States, who have got a massive exposure on aircraft carriers, but otherwise, whether it's UK or other countries, we're talking around 10-ish years. That's a timeline involved for a project of this mammoth size. This is a build strategy, and this would be of interest to engineers who have worked in long-term EPC contracts, where again, I say the design, concurrent design and build moves forward. The entire even contracting for this vessel has been done in 3 phases. So it is not that a contract was done to build the complete vessel as we see it today, because at that point, it was not fully decided what would be exact fit and finish for the vessel. So the moment the initial structural part and the basic outfitting was decided, the phase 1 contract, as we call it, was signed in May 2007. You could actually see even the construction started a little bit before that. So the contracting actually came in. So this is how naval projects evolved, in fact. And the phase 1 was about 15,000 tons of high-grade steel construction, pre-launch outfitting. Outfitting is, in colloquial terms, what you fit out onto a ship. So equipment, piping, it could involve electrical systems, and the launching of the vessel. And this was completed from the building dock. So at that point, you can see that ship would look like that, a flat, nothing on top of that. Phase 2 was contracted in December 2014. And it caters for the balance hull structure. So the balance is about 6,500 tons, by which time another about 7,300 tons of systems, equipment, machinery, electronics, electrical systems go on the ship. And then all systems start, in naval parlance, it's called STW, setting to work. And the final phase is the phase 3, which is the complete aviation facility complex. We call it the AFC, which is everything to do with the flight systems. We call as I said, there are terminologies used in the naval systems. We call, as I said, in the mid part, it's STW, setting to work. Once you set to work the equipment, we do the HATS. It's called the harbor trials, harbor acceptance trials of ship systems. Then you do the basin trials. So the ship is still with the shipyard on the basin, and in the basin, you actually do the trials. And then you take her out for sea trials. So you take the vessel out for sea trials. And then you also have, once the ship is delivered to the Indian Navy, there are still certain post-delivery activities, which are predominantly to do with the actual aircraft's landing and its systems. So there are a lot of other vessels of the naval fleet also involved. There could be interfacing between various submarines, various ships, and various systems being tried out. So you can see there's a very complex contracting mechanism, which a single ship of this size is contracted in 3 phases, because when you're contracting phase 1, you are not in a system to actually, you're not in a situation to exactly define phase 3. That is where it is. Unlike, see, in a oil, the complex systems which you see like an oil refinery being built up, you do a feed front-end engineering design, you get into the systems, and then you move forward. Something similar which happens here, but being an evolving project, it is a concurrent design and build spread across 3 phases. Some of the key parameters. The ship is 262.5 meter in length, 62.5 meter width. So this is almost, just to put it in understandable terms, it's the size of 5 Olympic-sized swimming pools. The speed of the vessel at 28 knots, which is ships, you're probably aware, these are mammoth structures, but this ship actually flies by ship standards. 28 knots, people active in the marine space know that this is a significant speed. It's a speed much higher than that at what top speed container ships move. The cruise speed is 18 knots, and the range is about 7,500 nautical miles. And you probably know that 1 nautical mile is almost 1.8 kilometer. So the range is like, you can go from here to Brazil in one single loading of fuel. About 5,000 tons of fuel is loaded on the ship. The propulsion is by what we call a COGAG configuration. It's gas turbines. These are, when you say COGAG, it is basically combined gas and gas. So there are 4 gas turbines on the ship, and 2 gas turbines are combined together onto one shaft line, and it drives a propeller. You can see the size of that propeller. It's 6 meter diameter. So that picture will show you, compared to that person standing on the dock floor, what is the size of the propeller. And these turbines, each of these turbines deliver 22,000 kilowatt of power. So these 4 gas turbines together, it's 88,000 kilowatt of power. It goes through 2 reduction gearboxes into 2 shaft lines. And you can see one of the shaft line is 100 meters. So 100 meter, we all know, like we know what a 100 meter dash is. So the power, so 44,000 kilowatt gets transmitted through a long 100 meter shaft line on one side, and on the other side, on the port side is facing front of a ship. The left side is a port and the right side is a starboard. So on the port side it's 100 meter, and on the starboard side it's a 69 meter. Engine rooms are kept staggered because it's a warship. You take a hit in one of the engine rooms, you can still operate with the other engine room. That is why it's staggered engine rooms. And these are gas turbines, which we call the LM2500 series of gas turbines. These are General Electric origin, produced by General Electric and integrated and assembled and installed on the vessel by Hindustan Aeronautics Limited. Diesel engines, as I mentioned, the turbines are to drive the ship. You need power on the ship. You need electrical power on the ship. And this is delivered by 24 megawatts, 24,000 kilowatts. Electrical engineers would know that this is good enough to light up a small town. So these are 8 numbers Wärtsilä make diesel generator sets, each delivering 3,000 kilowatt of power. So this is what we have the electrical system on board. So in addition to the 88,000 kilowatt of drive power from the turbines, you have 24,000 kilowatts of electrical power on the ship. And how the flight deck is arranged. The ship has what is called a short takeoff runway. So the planes actually take off. I'll show you how the planes actually take off. And it takes off in that arrow marked blue color. So that's 140 meter. So you start and you take off in 140 meter flat. There's a long runway, which is from a longer distance, which takes 200 meters is a long runway. If the plane is loaded with more ammunition and more fuel, it has to take the longer runway. If the plane is for a different, for a shorter sortie, then it takes a shorter runway. And the plane comes and lands across in this runway, which is a 190-meter landing runway. So you can see the plane comes and lands like that. And I'll explain in the next slides, but the plane comes from a particular angle. It hits the runway, it lands, and in case it can't stop there, it can't get connected onto the arresting wires, which I'll explain in the next slides. It has to take off again. Now just imagine this. I'll take a few minutes here. You know what a standard airfield is, standard airport is. We are talking about a 3-kilometer runway. And here we are talking about a plane landing in 190 meters. This is the most critical activity on an aircraft carrier. So aircraft carrier pilots are actually daredevils. They come and land, it's a full jet. It's a full jet coming and landing at full thrust power, and they're touching down, they're getting arrested, and if they don't get arrested, they are ready to take off. And all this not landing on a conventional airfield. The airfield itself is moving at 28 knot speed, and you could be in pitch dark condition. So in the mid of a night, pitch dark, platform moving in the center of an ocean, you're coming and touching down at aircraft landing speeds. We know all what kind of speeds we are coming and landing. And then you have to close within 190 meters. So this is a trick, and this is the grandeur of an aircraft carrier. The flight deck area is about 12,500 square meters. You can see how this aircraft is taking off. It is restrained under full thrust on a restraining gear. So it pumps in full thrust and it's restrained. You can see it is full thrust. Then it takes off. So the aircraft is actually on full throttle. On full throttle, you can see there are two restraining gears. These are like pads. These are like brake pads. So the tires are stopped by the wheel tires are stopped by this restraining gear. And when it's on full throttle, one shot, the restraining gears close down and the plane is thrown off. This is what happens. I can show that once again. The moment he has clearances on the flight deck, you can imagine the G-forces that will be on play when you take off in this fashion. So this is what is called the restraining gear. And how she comes and lands, you can see this. First, you can see, I'll show you this video once again, but you can see these three wires which are called the arresting gears. So the plane comes and lands from the aft. You have to imagine that the ship is moving forward. Continuously, the ship is moving at top speed. And the plane comes and lands from aft. The plane has got a hook down below. That hook aims for this middle wire. It aims for the middle wire or the next wire. It can also get trapped in the first wire, but it actually normally aims for the middle wire or the next wire. So coming and landing at full speed, it's just broken, and then it stops in 90 meters. And if it cannot hook on to any of these arresting gears, it has to take off at the same speed. So I'll show this video once again. You can see the plane is coming. It is hooking onto one of the wires and it stops in 90 meters. You can see the wire pulling it back. So the pilot goes through extreme G-forces during that time. The payloads are on this aircraft carrier, 20 fixed wing aircraft and 10 rotary wing, which are helicopters. You can see these are actual pictures from the aircraft carrier during her last 3 sea sorties we have taken her out. This aircraft carrier is designed for the MiG-29 Kamo from MiG-29K from Russia. India's own LCA aircraft, our own ALH-08 helicopters, and the Kamo helicopters from Russia. So these would be the payloads on the ship. And how the aircraft is taken from the hangar to the top, you can see on the right. This is actually in INS Vikramaditya. This is on the, and it's the same system. So you can see these red color marks on the sides of the ship. Those are basically what we call the aircraft lifts. So the aircraft is brought onto the flight deck from the hangar. The hangar is down below. That's where the aircrafts are parked. Not all aircraft. Many aircrafts are parked on the deck and many in the hangar. So from the hangar, it is brought. You can see the wings are folded at that point. You can see this picture. I'll try to do this once again. So the plane with its wings folded, it comes up. So that's how it comes. And the lift capacity is 30 tons and the size is 14 meter by 10 meter. Now, from a shipyard and a shipbuilding perspective, let's compare this with other naval platforms. We are comparing this with a frigate or a destroyer. From a displacement point of view, that is what the ship weighs. A frigate and a destroyer is about 6,000 to 7,000 tons. The aircraft carrier is about 40,000 tons. The steel that has gone into the ship, frigate destroyer is about 2,500 tons. The aircraft carrier is about 22,000 tons. Electric power is about 4 megawatts, 4,000 kilowatt in a frigate or a destroyer. The aircraft carrier is 24,000 kilowatt. Air conditioning capacity, about 8,850 tons of refrigeration on the frigate and destroyer. On the aircraft carrier, it's about 4,800 tons. Electrical cabling, about 500 kilometers on a frigate or a destroyer. And here we are talking about 2,350 kilometers. Piping, about 18-20 kilometers on a frigate or a destroyer, and on the aircraft carrier, 140 kilometers. Number of compartments. The aircraft carrier is an 18-story structure. And it's got about 2,300 compartments as compared to about 500 compartments on other vessels. And we have about 1,650 lives on board as compared to around 350 people on a frigate or a destroyer. We are having about 2,000 compartments on the vessel, which is about people living compartments are about 650 compartments. Water generation is about 4 lakh liters per day. HVAC ducting, 250 tons of steel goes into the HVAC ducting. Chilled water piping for the air conditioning cooling. Chilled water piping is about 11 kilometers. And there is a large integrated platform management system on the ship, which is basically taking all the signals. There are about 24,000 input-output signals being integrated. So you can see the work content in an aircraft carrier is about 7 times that of a. So it's as good as building 7 destroyers or frigates. Challenges for CSL. Cochin Shipyard was essentially a commercial yard building commercial platforms. So understanding the methodology of the warship building project has been a steep learning for us. The enormity and scale of the project. This was the first of the vessel in its class, concurrent design and construction. Steep learning for the Indian Navy, for various OEMs and various entities involved. As we said, systems were evolving. First time developmental systems were being integrated. Very complex multidisciplinary engineering activity. State-of-the-art systems on board the ship, leading to frequent mid-course changes in design because conflicting requirements from the design, evolving, first time, very, very complex systems. You can see the pictures on the right side are how we've normally built the commercial ships. You can see there's already a lot of outfitting, equipment, piping, already on the steel block as we are moving forward. but we call it the IHOP concept. Integrated hull. Hull is the steel part. Integrated hull, outfit, and painting. You can say it's already painted, it's already outfitted. But this mode we couldn't do on the aircraft carrier because we were doing concurrent design and build. And as I said, when the steel part was getting completed, the outfit was probably not even designed into the engineering phase. It was being conceptualized. It was in the basic design stage. It was not into the detailed engineering stage. And the long gestation period of the project leading to extensive time gap when you install an equipment. For example, gas turbines. Gas turbines have been installed almost 9 years back, and then we set it to work and commission it much later. The experience and achievements are flashed on the screen. I'm not going through each one, but the entire ship has been built in virtual reality, complete 3D modeling on complex software. We have more than 150 plus software licenses. Can I have a audio muted?
Switch off. Vipin,
Yes.
see that someone is switched on.
Mr. Sudhakaran sir, could you please mute your?
Thank you.
Yes, sir, you can.
We have developed in-house customized software like cable manager software and electrical apps. Enhanced steel fabrication process. I'll come into this a bit more later. Cable laying. We were laying at a point of time, we were laying more than 120 kilometers a month on such a complex and confined space in this vessel. We bought a large scale of turnkey approaches for such naval projects. Capability for alignment of weapons and sensors. Integration of complex systems, the integrated platform management system. I have a slide on this. And conducted full power trials. And this is actually unparalleled in the history of Indian Navy. On the first outing of this aircraft carrier itself, we pumped in the full 88,000 kilowatt of power into the shafting. So this is actually to the credit of the Indian Navy and Cochin Shipyard. The capability of our produce, the confidence in the system that on the first outing itself, 88,000 kilowatt of power was pushed into the shafts. Prowess in hull fabrication, Cochin Shipyard. There is a video. You can see how the front portion or the ski jump part of the ship is being built. Cochin Shipyard has got a very strong hull fabrication capability, but our prowess was really tested on this project. But to the credit of CSL, we actually could deliver. You can, while you see the video on top, how that portion is getting integrated. You can see it's all held in midair and being integrated into the large ship. On the bottom pictures, you can see we welded 100-ton A brackets, which were 200 millimeter thick, 200 millimeter, 20 centimeter of steel. On the bottom left, you can see a 335 millimeter thick test piece being welded. And these steels are of grades called the DMR 249, which are high toughness steels. 21,000 tons of steels was handled by Cochin Shipyard. These are steels which can withstand, where the toughness is measured at minus 60 degrees Celsius. The great part here is a lot of welding procedures were evolved by CSL. More than 500 welders were qualified in advanced DMR 249 plates. I don't think there's anybody in India who can actually do this kind of processes. Certain things, again, innovative ideas and the ingenious spirit of CSL came into flow. Like when we were doing the first launching of the vessel, the ship was getting ready and some equipment, especially the gearbox, got delayed due to engineering reason. And we had to launch the ship in between. The ship would trim, the ship wouldn't be on even keel. And we did a buoyancy assisted pontoon launch. And the buoyancy assisted pontoon, the Russians said, you can't do this. we will have to, even if we try to help you, you'll struggle on this. But CSL with our in-house people, we actually created these designs. We created a strap-on buoyancy pontoon, about 300 tons. And we created that extra buoyancy that was needed on the ship and launched the vessel. You can see like how the shaft is being loaded in. And there is a long shaft. What you're seeing here, we created this jig, which can do precise alignment in X, Y, Z directions. And we installed this long 100-meter shafting. It's never been done in Indian shipbuilding. What you're seeing at the bottom, very, very large A brackets and P brackets were handled underneath the ship where you can't have crane reach. So you again created jigs and fixtures which would do alignment to millimeter, sub-millimeter accuracies. There's a massive integrated platform management system, currently the biggest in the Indian Navy. These are basically remote control and monitoring of the ship system. The ship is practically fly-by-wire. The ship system distributed from 24 locations through 31 consoles within 60 distributed input-output devices. Hardwired signals about 9,000 and serial Ethernet signals about 15,000 signals. And HMI pages about 150 pages for 50 ship systems. And CSL has been involved from concept to consolidation on all the systems. So everything on the ship, the propulsion, the CCTV systems, what is called the BDCS systems, the battle damage control systems. There are various ship systems which get integrated into it. Everything goes through the integrated platform management system. Very, very happy, and we take pride to report the Atmanirbhar part. The complete hull, the entire steel on this ship is developed by the Defense Metallurgical Research Laboratory, a DRDO laboratory, and sourced 100% from SAIL. The welding electrodes were actually developed by DMRL, created by a company called Midani Mishra Dhatu Nigam Limited. As I mentioned, the complete welding procedures and processes and the welders came from Cochin Shipyard. About 76% of the equipment on the ship is indigenous. More than 500 subcontractors are involved. More than 100 MSMEs are involved. On a given day, and on average, 2,300 people work on the ship in Cochin Shipyard, and more than 12,800 ancillary industries employees across the country. Niche capabilities such as combat management systems. It's never been done in India. We call it the CMS. The combat management systems have been made by Indian companies. A few names here. The SAIL developed the high-grade DMR 249 grade A steel. This was never done in India. We used to import it from Russia. But when things went not very good with the Russian side, India developed this steel. It set us back by a few years, but today all Indian warships, and there are 42 Indian warships being built by Indian shipyards, it uses this steel. And today, in addition to SAIL, Jindal, JSPL, and ArcelorMittal, the old SR steel, can actually make this steel. Bharat Electronics Limited has delivered the complete communications, electronic warfare solutions, the ship data network, and various other weapon systems on the ship. I'm not talking too much on the weapon systems on this vessel. BHEL has delivered the integrated platform management system. Larsen & Toubro, main switchboards, power systems, steering gear systems. Kirloskar has delivered the air conditioning and refrigeration plants. Rockham has delivered the water generation systems. Tata Advanced Systems that delivered the combat management systems. So there's a lot for India to be proud of, because these systems, these are things that got evolved during the process. The key takeaways: the construction of the aircraft carrier is one of the most challenging projects for any shipyard in the world. There are only a few shipyards which can handle this, and CSL has successfully addressed these challenges. The learning and the priceless experience gained from the building the IAC can be plowed into bigger and better follow-on ships. And again, happy to inform you that today CSL is already contracted to build another 8 numbers of military vessels. We call it the anti-submarine warfare corvettes for the Indian Navy. Also, we are shortly due to move forward with contracts for another 6 next-generation missile vessels for the Indian Navy. We are cautiously embracing modern and the most modern technologies. Very, very important. It's not just a buyer-seller relationship. We have transformed this into a joint research and development in evolving process from a country perspective. And this is an add-on advantage for CSL's endeavor to build high-quality and complex vessels. That's it from my side. But this picture, I should explain. This is Cochin Shipyard, and a picture like this you probably won't see anywhere else in the world. This is India's aircraft carrier entering the dock, and the aircraft carrier being built with the 2 towering cranes of the CSL and the city of Cochin around us. And 50 years back, this year we are celebrating 50 years of Cochin Shipyard along with India at 75. 50 years back, this was a idyllic, palm-fringed area. CSL is proud that CSL has been at the centerpiece of Kochi, and the city has evolved around the shipyard. We take pride that we have actually done things for the country and for the state of Kerala. And I'm extremely happy that we have been given the opportunity to present whatever I can share at this stage with engineer friends from the Kerala, Thrissur area. And thanks a lot, Shri Anand Menon and Shri Vinod Manjila for having me here. My colleague, Shiraz VP, who is the project director for the aircraft carrier project and who guides and holds a large team, is also joining me in this presentation. So thanks on behalf of Cochin Shipyard, because this is really not about Madhu S. Nair. This is, I'm just being the face of CSL. I'm just being the face of India and its capabilities to just reach out to fellow engineers like you. Thanks a lot, and I will stop the sharing, and we can move forward. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Madhu S. Nair. It was actually very exciting and a lot of learning along with this. One thing I do not know if don't you have any torpedoes on this for protecting it, or maybe other sort of weaponry may be there? You're muted. You're muted.
The ship has got a lot of self-defense. See, an aircraft carrier, essentially, the aircraft carrier's main weapons are its planes, because the planes are fully loaded. But the aircraft carrier also has got a long-range surface-to-air missile. This has got LR-SAMs. It's got close-range weapon systems, and it's got various other equipment also, weaponry also. But an aircraft carrier is a flagship. It doesn't move on its own. It doesn't move alone. It moves with a flotilla. And the flotilla, so that is it, because an aircraft carrier is used for power projection.
Okay.
This is to fight a war not close to home, away from home. So it is basically control of the seas. So if you want to go, let's say 1,000, 2,000 kilometers away from home and control, let's say 1,500, 2,000 kilometers of seaway, that is where you take an aircraft carrier and its systems. But yes, the aircraft carrier has got very potent long-range surface-to-air missiles. I'm not talking too much on the weaponry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. A great engineering feat, and you have been so humble, and the leadership provided by you. I spoke to some senior retired person. I do not know when he was there, Mr. R.S. Nair.
Yeah, very much. Yes.
You were his GM, it seems, when he had come to take a ship.
Yeah.
For the shipping corporation. He remembers now.
That's
so
right,
popular with the workers or anyone. He said he will join, but he's,
sure.
I don't think he's from Bombay, but I don't know if he's coming. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Sir,
Thank you,
I
Madhu.
got a small query. Hello.
Yes, sir. Yes,
May I,
sir.
sir? Hello.
Please. Yes, sir.
See, the project you have undertaken is no parallel. So kudos to you, and you have presented it in a very nice way. I am very, very educated now. I got 2 queries. Basically, projects, the more important 2 aspects. is the time frame and the cost involved. Regarding the time frame, if I understand correctly, the only aircraft carrier that is INS Vikramaditya in the Indian Navy today, that has taken about 4.5 years from the time the construction started till it was commissioned in the Russian Navy. It was initially commissioned in Russian Navy and subsequently we purchased as a second-hand ship in 2013, whereas it was commissioned in the Navy of Russia in the year 1982, if I am not mistaken. So, and that took about 4.5 years for the construction, whereas our ship, it's a Himalayan task, it has taken more than a decade and a half now, and still the completion is not there. So how do you justify this? Hope I am not offending you. If you can do that. And second question is regarding the cost. When the initial estimate was $0.5 billion, which is a huge amount, but somehow, if I understand correctly, the cost has escalated to $3.5 billion, which is 25,000 crores. So there again, how do you justify this escalation in the cost and escalation in the time frame, if you can?
Yeah, very pertinent question. See, India's present aircraft carrier, I don't have the exact details, so you'll have to pardon me on that, but India's aircraft carrier Vikramaditya was never built as an aircraft carrier. It was built as a different kind of... It was built as a cruiser vessel. It was not an aircraft carrier. So it was built actually for Ukraine, and it was built in a different fashion. And at a point of time, they gave up because due to a set of reasons. So this vessel was built as a cruiser, and then it stopped. Thereafter, it was redesigned and engineered. And the second part of that construction took 4.5 years time, because by that time already the ship was built. So it was actually the outfitting part which the Russians have done, and the Russians actually built that carrier. And then it actually had a fire in that ship prior to once they built it, and that's when Russia gave it up. And then Russia offered it practically at nil cost to India. That is what they say. But at the end of the day, there has been significant money that has been put in on the vessel to come to this particular stage. So 4.5 years is not the time frame of the construction on the Russian aircraft carrier. I will come to a better analogy on that, because most recently, Queen Elizabeth, which is British Navy's aircraft carrier, has been built. It is a larger vessel than this. It's a 65,000-ton carrier. And this has taken 10 years' time. The Queen Elizabeth is 10 years' time. And it has been commissioned last year into the British Navy. Now, talking on the price part, there are two things. One, you talked about the initial estimate. I can't, in this forum, I can't talk too much on the initial estimate because there is a particular, because this ship was, the initial estimate, this ship was never an IAC. It was not an indigenous aircraft carrier when it was formed. It was an air defense ship. It was called an ADS. And an ADS and an indigenous aircraft carrier, IAC, is very, very different. And ADS was estimated at a particular price, which again, at that point of time, I won't comment on it, but I'll just go back to another analogy, which is again an analogy which was presented to the late Shri Arun Jaitley when he was a finance minister. So I will give you those figures. Shri Arun Jaitley queried about the timelines for such a vessel and the price for such a vessel with, again, I won't name the person, but one of the senior most naval officials. And the answers were as such. If you bring this, because there's no equivalent vessel anywhere in the world, but if you evaluate it from the equivalent vessel, the timelines on the British vessel is 10 years. We are today, from the keel laying, we are today 13 years. And this looks, for the first of a kind for a country, it looks okay. On the pricing side, the British carrier is $5.5 billion. We are $3 billion US, which is okay. After hearing these two, actually, Arun Jaitley, we all know this person, one of India's top intellect. He just closed his eyes and he said, this is really about India. When the best in class in the world has taken about 10 years time to build such a vessel and can do it in about $5.5 billion, we are taking about 13 years time on our first aircraft carrier of this size and about 3 billion. So I think I should rest it at that. But again, as I said, there definitely would be improvement possibilities, but the kind of, because such projects, when it evolves, for example, the question, if you're asking me, how much time would I take to build the next aircraft carrier? My answer is 6 years. But I need to get that order now. If the order comes 10 years down the line, this generation of people, this knowledge is not available. So this is a answer to that question. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Any other questions?
Thank you, sir. Any other questions?
Yeah,
Good evening, Mr. Madhu Nair.
Sir, please.
I am Vijay Kumar, your former IEM. I feel that I should have continued as IEM at the time of your launch of this vehicle. Unfortunately, my tenure got over. And you have a new IEM and a new CBO. I hope things are fine there. And I wish you all the best. And you did an excellent job by presenting this. I really miss Cochin Shipyard. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, sir. Thanks. It's an excellent exposure for us, having the benefit of your great experience also, and such the fine individual you are. Thanks a lot, sir. Thank you very much.
Any more questions from our audience?
George Paul, if you want to ask, you must unmute. Can't hear you. George Paul, we can't hear you.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes.
Yeah.
Since there is hardly any question, and if you permit me, I can ask. I like to ask.
No. I want to talk to
George Paul is asking.
Yeah. I have no question, Madhu sir, only to congratulate you and your team for such a creating such an engineering marvel.
Thanks a lot, sir. Thank you very much, sir.
No, not only that, it's such a complex project, and you are talking about 3 billion and 5 billion, and you are able to make that in Kerala.
No, I think this is something which all of us must understand. I always say with pride, Shri Anand Menon explained that a company of around 80,700 employees, I want to add on to that. 1,700 is our permanent staff strength. On a given day, we are 9,000 people working in the company between the ship repair and ship building divisions. We are amongst Kerala's largest employers. This is the footfalls in the company. And almost 2 times that figure work in Kerala and other parts of India. So we really feel this is a contribution to the nation building part. Talking about Kerala, again to the audience, മലയാളത്തില് നമ്മുടെ നാട്ടിൽ ഒന്നും നടക്കില്ല എന്ന് പറയുന്നവർക്കുള്ള ഉത്തരമാണ് കൊച്ചിൻ ഷിപ്പ്യാർഡ്. ഇവിടെ പലതും നടക്കും. So I want to say that when people talk about strikes, and we also, like as a government company, I don't go and talk this in general forums, but there's a very enlightened, learned forum. People think that Kerala is all about strikes. When people go in front of Cochin Shipyard also, you will see a lot of flags and other things. But let me give you one fact. And the fact is, last 33 years, Cochin Shipyard permanent employees, the unions belonging to the permanent employees, have not struck work even one day in the last 33 years. Not a single day in the last 33 years. Either a factor. There has been odd strikes, contract labor, Palarian strikes, and there will be a lot of flags. You could see demonstrations. That doesn't mean the company is closed down. The company doesn't close down. And certain things like today, we are going through COVID. COVID in Kerala, when we lost time, our unions, today is a Saturday. Today, we are working today. We work tomorrow. We work on all days. Shivaratri, we work on all days. But the holidays, this financial year, to recoup this, the employees' unions have agreed, and it is with the full consent. The employees are working on all second Saturday and fourth Saturday, which is a closed holiday for us. This also happens in Kerala. So I think it is how we team up both the management, workers, because at the end of the day, there's a lot of pride in the system. Our pride, I think we can do a lot of good things. And this is actually a model for various others. And as we said, we have also expanded into other parts. We now have 7 units because we feel CSL has a lot to contribute into the system.
That's fantastic.
Fantastic and really
Fantastic.
good.
Yeah.
This is a leadership. Vinod.
Yes, sir. So, I mean, we are all proud that, we are proud Malayalis now having a aircraft vessel being made here. My question to you, sir, now you have operation across India, about around 7 places you have. So how do you look at the efficiency of the Cochin Shipyard employees and the team here and vis-a-vis other places which is under your control now?
See, CSL is very, very high quality efficiency. That is because the quintessential Malayali worker, the skill sets are extremely high. And the moment they connect emotionally also with the organization, the skill sets are extremely high. What we are creating in other parts, we are trying to also I want to say one more thing. We have been a very, very clean organization. Typically about public sector, again, being an enlightened audience, I would like to say this, otherwise I don't argue on this. The general perception of a public sector is that public sector, it has to be inefficient, it has to be corrupt, it has to have sloth. Feeling it is changing, but this efficiency which we have in CSL, I'm not saying everything is well and fine in CSL. I'm definitely not saying that. There's a lot of improvement we have. But the other units which we are creating, we are trying to transplant this efficiency and the integrity. We value integrity above everything. But this is something which we are trying to transplant to other units. Calcutta, we have 2 sets of operations in Calcutta. So far, things have gone well. But Calcutta, predominantly workforce is non-Bengali. They're actually from outside Bengal. Mumbai, we have very, very professional ecosystem because Mumbai, we all are aware of the efficiency of the system. So Mumbai, like anything we need is available. So Mumbai works very well. We set up this operation in Udupi, which we are holding tight. Again, we are building up a local ecosystem there. We are training the local ITIs and the diploma holders because we now have about 250 people working there. Not again a mix of permanent and outsourced. So we are building it up. But efficiency point of view, today's Cochin Shipyard, there won't be a match for the other units, but the other units will also come up very strongly. And these are in different segments. It is not, we are in different segments. The Tebma Malpe unit will cater to smaller niche vessels, fishing vessels. The Calcutta unit will cater to inland waterways space, which we feel is an emerging area. And all the other 3 units are ship repair because we feel ship repair in India has got huge potential to move. But Kerala worker is very different. Again, we have a lot of ex-Middle East and Gulf return workers, Singapore return workers, who are workers. There could be contractors, there could be employees, and they come in with an entirely different set of professionals.
Thank you.
One question I would like to ask. Why is Cochin Shipyard going in for solar small boats? You can make big, your infrastructure is so big and you can, but I think this is to fill the gap or because there are other MSMEs can handle that, no?
No, this is really not to fill in the gap. This is to address, there's actually a very, very important question, which a lot of people think that we are getting into boats and small things. This is a cutting edge. This is all about green technologies. This is about advanced technologies. This is about digital technologies. And these technologies, small MSMEs cannot jump into this directly. Small MSMEs may be able to handle, but there are technologies to be invented here, technologies to be created. And what we are trying to do here is we are leveraging CSL to start off with, but finally the production may not happen in Cochin Shipyard. It may happen in one of our subsidiaries, but we are leveraging Cochin Shipyard's strength. Today, the world is actually moving into just like vehicles are moving into the EVs, the world is moving into what we're calling decarbonization and alternate modes of fuels. So we are not building solar boats right now. What we are doing is we are doing autonomous electric vessels. We are exporting vessels into Norway. We are building this fleet of vessels for the Cochin Water Metro. And the Cochin Water Metro vessels, these are not normal boats in the water. The first lot is 23 boats. It will go up to 75 vessels. Zero emission 75 vessels. We is the largest ecosystem anywhere in the world. The world doesn't have it. Europe doesn't have it. So we are creating something which is not there anywhere. People are not aware of this. What Kerala is actually doing, it is that the West Europe is watching what is happening in Cochin. And these vessels are, you should actually go on that vessels when they actually start operation. These are, the interiors are exactly the same as Cochin Metro trains, which is delivered by Alstom. And the control systems and the systems are at a very, very different level. So these are not, these are like the Mercedes on the Indian roads, which Kerala deserves, because the Malayali, the Keralite has actually seen the world. The Kerala doesn't want anything lower than what is the best in the world. And idupoleയുള്ള vessels, you'll have to actually go to West Europe, Norway, Netherlands, Germany to see such vessels. And those are what we are doing. We will, it is definitely not about getting into the MSME space. We align with a lot of MSMEs, as you can see from all these projects. But this is about tapping into a next ecosystem of electric mobility, green technology, and green shipping.
One thing, are we going to, are we importing and assembling, or are we doing R&D and we can do it ourselves?
Both. Right now, some of the systems, large systems, like for example, the Cochin Metro vessels we are doing, the vessels are engineered completely by us. The vessels have been tested. Model testing has been done in Netherlands. The electrical systems are imported. It is Siemens, but Siemens India to deliver the solutions. The battery systems are actually imported today. But the complete superstructure and the accommodation, it is not, we call it FRP or GRP, but then it's not the normal FRP or GRP. It is actually the metro coach. It's the same company which has delivered the Alstom metro coaches, which is actually doing this. But as we move forward, these battery stacks will be actually made in India. We can actually, we are today moving into full range of 100% electric vehicles, which will be launched in Varanasi, in Kolkata, in Guwahati, and in Mumbai. We will be coming up with this shortly. So as we move forward, these would be technologies, because these are not things which are readily available. And if people feel that all this can be done, for example, if you want what is called LTO batteries, let us be clear, LTO cells are available only with Toshiba today. And these are, Toshiba is talking to us whether we should do joint production in India, kind of things, but we need to get started.
Very good. Thank you. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Sir, the arresting and restraining gears of the aircrafts, they are one of the most complicated and sophisticated equipment. Is it indigenously made or are we importing it?
No, these are Russian. Actually, as I said, the complete aviation flight complex on this vessel, because we are talking about the MiG-29K planes. This ship is, the aviation facility complex on the ship is Russian, and the systems are aligned with the Russian system because the communication and tracking is Russian. So these systems are Russian. The arresting gear, there are two methodologies for arresting and restraining. One is the American system, the other one is the Russian system. So this is entirely from Russia.
Thank you so much. I think, Vipin, we are overshooting the time. No?
Yes, sir.
Shall we go for, if nothing else is there, let's go to pleasantries and then vote of thanks.
Yes,
he may be also getting delayed for him. I think, shall we go for the pleasantries and conclude?
Okay, sir. Okay, sir. So now it's time for presentation of mementos. I request our President Engineer Anand Menon to present a memento to our chief guest as a token of gratitude and appreciation.
On behalf of Architects and Engineers Association, we have great pleasure. Kindly accept a small token of our appreciation. It's only some cashew nuts and only packed in a delightful way.
Thanks a lot, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for the time. And I know that you were so busy, and then despite of traveling up and down from Delhi. You gave so much of your time. It was really enlightening. Thank you so much.
Thank you very
Formally,
much.
yeah, thank you.
Okay, sir.
Vipin?
Now I invite Professor Dr. E.K. Kurian, Secretary, Institution of Engineers, Thrissur Local Chapter, to propose the vote.
One before that, Mr. VRU Menon, our very senior, he wants to talk. Unmute, sir.
VRU, sir,
Unmute.
please unmute.
Unmute, sir. VRU Menon, unmute jiyo. Unmute. Vipin, can you help him?
Yes, sir. I am asking him, but he's not. Sir, unmute him, sir. VRU, sir. Unmute
sir. Unmute jiyanam.
Okay, sir.
Ipa samsarikam. Okay.
I don't have to ask anything. Just thank him for the wonderful talk. That is all. Please go ahead with the presentation. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Kurian, sir. Professor Dr. E.K. Kurian will now propose vote of thanks. Sir, could you please?
Dr. Kurian, unmute that liya.
Sir, unmute that liya. Yes, sir. No.
Good evening, everybody. Today we had the rarest opportunity to hear from the technocrat behind the development and design of the indigenous aircraft carrier. So Dr. Madhu S. Nair, he has given us the opportunity, and we are all very much delighted and also enlightened to hear from you, sir. So on behalf of the three professional organizations of the Thrissur, that is Architects and Engineers Association Thrissur, Thrissur Management Association, and Institution of Engineers India Thrissur Local Center, we like to thank you very much, sir. Thank you, sir. And on behalf of the three organizations, since we are running late, I do not take much time. I express our thanks to the President of the Architects and Engineer Association, Dr. Engineer Anand Menon, then to Engineer Vinod Manjila for the Thrissur Management Association, who has introduced our chief guest, and the technical support, and all the support has been provided by Engineer Vipin Bhatnanaban, and he has acted as the program coordinator. So I thank you all. And once again, I thank Engineer Madhu S. Nair and his team, including Engineer Shiraz PP, and also the others of the team who has contributed much for the very good presentation and also enlightening the engineering community of Thrissur. So I once again thank Engineer Madhu S. Nair and team, and also thank all the people, all those who have worked behind that thing, and especially Dr. Engineer Anand Menon, who has taken pains to arrange and also to arrange this program. I once again thank you all, and thank you all. Good evening, everyone.
Thank you, Kurian, sir. So with that, we shall call this a day. I thank all the members of three associations, especially Madhu S. Nair, sir. That was extremely knowledgeable session, sir. It was a project which the whole nation would be proud of, sir. And we expect the best is yet to come from Cochin Shipyard. Thank you very much, sir. With the permission of the chair.
Yeah. Thank you.
The meeting is adjourned. Thank you.